Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, it's Monday, the 14th of August, 2017, and there will be no bomb-shattering information in this video. It's just, I have decided we're going to let this play in the background. I decided I wanted to say thank you. Like I said, I don't advertise. So many of you has been a word of mouth thing, letting people know about the information. Originally, this was 445 2 weeks ago. So we've gone from 445 to 3,917 in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 445, because this right here was 40,000 views 2 weeks ago. 120,000 views in less than 2 weeks. So I say thank you, because that is a testament to the information being provided. And I said to all of you, no fancy talk, no special words, just information. And so I do say thank you. I had a person say that they could hear in my voice the stress. You have no idea. Like I said, I tend to take on the pains of others, but pay attention, please. 4,000 emails, not from the 3,900 subscribers, but 4,000 emails in a week's time from this right here, that 120,000 views. And I have looked at every email. I have not responded to every email because I don't have that type of time. And again, I said I won't respond to emails that are asking me questions about any of the videos that I'm putting up. It's not my job to answer your questions just because you didn't get an understanding, because you will find that if you go back to the earlier videos, well, what videos are those? EON 1, EON 2. Those are the 2 EON channels. There are a couple of more EON channels, but we're not setting those up just yet. We set those up just in case Google wants to play and take down videos again. You know how they be, because they don't want the information out there, especially the information I've been putting up as of late. You see, go ahead and talk to the people who say that they can't tell you about this or can't tell you about that. Go ahead and see if it's not part of the information that I've been putting out there as of late. The information that they claim they can't tell you about, well, I'm deciding it's not that I don't care. It's, well, somebody took a little piece of sand and they stood on top of the highest mountain with all of that snow, and they just dropped that little piece of sand down the mountain. And you know what happened? An avalanche, not a snowball. I don't mind there being an avalanche, because, sorry, you can take a sledgehammer to an egg and ruin the egg. Or you can sit up there and just throw the egg at a wall and get it all over the place. I'd rather throw the egg at the wall and see what sticks. So let's see if they can clean this wall up after everything is said and done. You see, the individuals who I've been talking to have said, you can't tell this to other people. You tell this to other people, they're just going to take it and mess it up, and they're going to mess it up for everybody. Sorry. If this is the right way to do things, then you can't mess it up for everybody. If there is a process for which to set people free, set my people free, then, ladies and gentlemen, it cannot hurt nobody educating the people, pointing the people in the right direction. You see, what they're saying is that we can't tell you all this information, that you have to find out for yourself because you have to attain the age of majority. Well, guess what? If they put the information out there and made it just as available as they do the DMV pamphlet for a driver's license, put it all in one place, as opposed to having you go to the, what did that gentleman say? That idiot, when we were talking to him from the registrar's office, vital statistics, did he not say that it was part of health and safety regulations? They were following that law? Health and safety regulations? I'm talking about amending a birth certificate. And you're talking about health and safety? What does the birth certificate have to do with health and safety? Well, it's an identity. It's an identity? Well, did you know that that identity say that I'm a child? Well, I need to change that identity. That's why we told you all you need to do an amendment of the birth certificate. That's why that form is there in the first place, for people who are more than 10 years past their birth. Go ahead and read the rules. Did you hear him say, well, you can't do this because you're too old? You waited too long? No, the only thing they wanted to do was say, we're not letting you change that name. That's already on there. Wait a minute, hold on, you have no choice. You see, the father's name you put withheld for the first name and withheld for the last name. So according to you, that's his identity. So according to you, my mother was Imelda and my father was withheld. What type of stupid sense does that make? And did you notice, as I brought out to his attention, the doctors and nurses put a code next to each of those two names showing that they placed a name there, and based on their policy, they put the number correlating to their policy for which they changed it. So they changed it, which means they're responsible for correcting it. Now, I don't have a problem with going in and getting it corrected. I'm not going to do a name change. There's no reason to do a name change. No, we're going to do a correction of the certificate of live birth. Don't want to do a name change because it's never been my name. But that's the name of the identity of the. I don't give a what is the name of. I don't give a what is the identity of. But I want you all to understand, he said it was an identity. And pay attention. It says for a child. Well, since it's an identity for a child, then let's let it stay for a child. You feel me? I feel you, brother. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if this information is supposed to be available to everyone, because they can't keep it a secret, because if they kept it a secret from you, if it wasn't available where you could go and readily get it, then what would happen is you would be able to cry foul. You would be able to say, you kept that from me, you hid that from me, you denied me due process, you took away my notice, my right to be notified. But you can't say that, because why? Because I've shown you the Age of Majority Act. I've shown you the statutes according to Corpus Juris Secundum. I put that out there for you. So they'll even say, well, he even put that out there for all of y'all, so y'all ain't got that in an excuse. Some of you guys are playing catch up. Okay, fine. As I told you, when I was on vacation, I just didn't sit on vacation. I was going over Corpus Juris Secundum. The little bit I did have. I was going over the case laws, focusing on specific information. Why? Because when I got out, I wanted to be in step or ahead of everyone else. Now you tell me, have I not been ahead of everyone else? You know, I heard today, and I know this is not true, it's a different Gene Keaton, but somebody told me Gene Keaton had passed away in June. I'm like, no, because I had somebody who just heard an interview with Gene Keaton that was done a couple of weeks ago. So I knew it wasn't him. But I told him, if it was Gene Keaton, if I misunderstood the other person, then we've lost a great one. Gene Keaton, a lot of respect for that man. I knew of Gene Keaton in the 90s. I'm not one of the new people who heard about Gene Keaton in 2000s and all of that stuff. I knew of Gene Keaton in the 90s. Never met him, but I knew of him. And I have had and have respect, tremendous respect for that man. I miss the Sam Jones. I don't care what Sam Jones did, how people are saying he took them for their money and all that stuff. That's the gullible people for allowing it. I don't know if it happened. I can't say if it happened, but I do miss Sam Jones. I miss Winston Shrout. I miss Doug Riddle. And I actually miss Ben Lowry. You know, the fact that he's gone off on a different tangent, hey, that's nothing to be said. But I miss the old people, the old guys. You know, Jerry Kane. You know, I miss that man a lot. I only watched one segment of his videos. But I do know that what happened to him and his son was no fluke. Now, mind you, the son did have an AK-47, but he did that to protect his father because he saw something going on at that police car that should not have been going on. And I'm sorry. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling people that this is what they should do, but just like in that case, if he was living in our day, his excuse would be he was in fear of his life and in fear of his father's life because black men, let me say it again, black men have been placed on the Huntings list. We've been targeted. Think about it. They've been just shooting to kill. Police don't shoot to maim anymore. They shoot to kill. They aim for the center of mass. Why? Because they're trying to kill. They're not trying to injure. Before, they used to injure you, bring you to there, and then claim that they were giving you justice. Now, justice to them is removing another creature from the list. I had a gentleman ask me about the X-Files video. He says, what X-Files video were you referring to was showing us exactly what's about to happen? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you exactly what X-Files video and exactly what's about to happen. I can't give you the full details, but the X-Files show where they're telling you exactly what they're getting ready to do. You just have to get rid of all the alien parts in the past season, which would have been the 11th season, the one done in 2016. There are only 10 episodes, and it's roughly episodes 7, 8, and 9, where they have the government putting a virus out there that decimates the population. But guess what they do? They come up with an antidote. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been poisoning our water, this little area right here. They've been poisoning our skies, chemical warfare on humanity. They've been poisoning everything, putting in our food, jet fuel, diesel fuel, rocket fuel, gasoline, propane, kerosene, fountain drinks, genetically modified this, genetically modified that. People, they are modifying it because they know that it operates against us, not for us. Do you think that the idiot, including that orange fella, you guys know the orange man, right? I mean, he should be, well, isn't he going to retire to Florida? Well, anyway, getting back to the orange president, do you think he eats the same junk that we eat? Of course not. Think they shop at the same stores that we shop at? Of course not. I promise you, they have their own regimen, their own food that they eat that is separate from the stuff that we eat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is done on purpose. They are poisoning us. Look at the cancer rates. Look at how the cancer rates, hey, if you had cancer in the 70s, you made national news. Matter of fact, you made international news because it was very rare for somebody to get cancer during the 60s, 70s, 50s. Think about it. Go back in history. You don't find nobody getting cancer that often back then. It was very rare. That's why there wasn't a cancer treatment center on every corner. Some states have 4 to 5 cancer treatment centers on one block. Why is that? Well, cigarettes, they're not harmful. Cigarettes are good for you. You should have one after every meal. And then after every breath. Every breath you take. Anyway, do you remember that? When they said cigarettes were not harmful? Encouraging people to smoke? Some of you are not old enough. Some of you weren't even born when cigarette commercials were on all day long. Some of you were not around then. But I remember the cigarette commercials. As I told you guys, my uncle, the best thing in the world my uncle ever did for me was he saw us playing around with cigarettes. Didn't catch us smoking with them, just it was lit and it was there. So he knew that we had been smoking the cigarette. Not a lot, just a couple of puffs, and that was it. But he said, all right, hold on, I'll be right back. He went to the store, which was about 5 blocks away. He bought 2 packs of cigarettes and had me and my brother eat a pack each. The full cigarette, and that's filter and all. Oh, that's unsanitary. Shut up. That's not the point. I've never, ever had a taste for cigarettes from that point forward. Now, I'm not telling anybody to do this with their child, because that's unsanitary. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying that I learned my lesson real quick. My mother dies of cancer from cigarette smoke. You know, it bothered me very greatly to see her with those nicotine patches on her. I thought that was horrible. And that was 2008. Because she knew she had to stop. Bothered me greatly. But this is what they did. They made those items addictive on purpose, pay attention, an estimated 4,000 chemicals in each cigarette. Now, why would they need 4,000 chemicals in each cigarette? Because they're trying to reach the largest demographic they possibly can. And because certain countries are untamed, they put it in the atmosphere. And because we breathe every day, you guys are sitting on a freeway with your windows down, breathing in the diesel smoke, breathing in the gasoline. Well, you're not just breathing in gasoline, because they pump that junk full of chemicals too. And that's the problem. Who tests the chemicals in gasoline? The EPA. The who? The EPA. Well, you go ahead and be a part of the PTA. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody tests for those chemicals because they've made those chemicals acceptable. You know, I was just watching, I was reading an article. This article was with the European Union. The Justice Court, the European Justice Court, has just ruled in June that Pirate Bay, you guys know Pirate Bay? My friends here at Pirate Bay, they have just ruled Pirate Bay is illegal. Pirate Bay say, wait a minute, hold on. We're not illegal. We don't provide anything on our site. Yes, we may provide an avenue, but we don't provide the item on our site. So you can't come at us because all we're doing is operating a website where individuals are permitted to share things. It's not any different from YouTube or Google with their emails because they allow people to share files on Google. Well, they ruled against them, saying that they were illegal and are ordering that the IPS for their sites be taken down. So we're about to lose Pirate Bay. But what I'm saying is Pirate Bay say, wait a minute, why can't we be like YouTube? Because YouTube violates copyright infringement every single day, every single second of every single day. That's why I said since they play it on YouTube, I was using the same music that they were using on YouTube. That's where I was getting all the music from, was YouTube. Well, YouTube have what's known as safe harbor rights. Excuse me? Where did YouTube get safe harbor rights? And why can they have safe harbor rights and Pirate Bay can't have them? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I think about pirated movies, pirated software. If I go to a store and I buy, let's say, the latest album of such and such, and I tell you, you know what, you really ought to hear this album by such and such. Hey, I bought a copy, so I'm going to share my copy with you. Isn't that the same as going and buying a copy and saying, here, this is a gift? Okay, isn't that the exact same thing? So, person to person or P to P, player to player sharing is not illegal. The law recognizes it every day of the week. Whenever the people of this world celebrate Christmas or Valentine's Day or Easter, whenever they are giving gifts to each other on honeymoons or wedding anniversaries, they are in violation of copyright infringement laws. You see, they get technical when they want to get technical, but they don't get technical when they need to get technical. It is not illegal to share software between parties. What's illegal is if the other person charges you for that software. That becomes illegal because now you're violating copyright laws. Now you are profiting off of someone else's work. But what if you make a copy of what they've already done? China does it all the time. China does it all the time. As a matter of fact, the United States is trying to go after China, trying to get them to get rid of their policy. If a company wants to come over to China, they have to make their software and their material available to the people of China. They want them to get rid of that policy. Bush is not going to get rid of that policy. China would be stupid to get rid of that policy, because it would mean that they will get to take advantage of that country the same as they've taken advantage of all the other countries. Look at the corporate control over, I said Bush, I mean this orange guy. Look at the corporate control they have over him. Well, let's get back to reality. I told you guys about the videos about the bees, about how they put an artificial bee in there to pollinate the artificial plants. Well, this bee is poisonous to man and to plants and to animals. Well, ladies and gentlemen, nobody paid attention. Nobody's paying attention. They had an artificial mosquito they put out there. You see that Zinca thing? Created by an artificial mosquito. So if they have artificial mosquitoes, they have artificial bees. You know what the artificial bees are actually called? Africanized bees. Go back into history. Before they genetically modified insects and animals. We just started finding out about this stuff in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Ladies and gentlemen, they were cloning this stuff way back in the 30s. That's what Hitler was doing. The German scientists were far advanced in this. They've been doing that since the 1800s. Oh, by the way, I heard about the Virginia thing, and I'm sorry that that young lady had to die and those other 19 other people were injured by the idiot who decided to drive his car down the street thinking that he was in London or something. But he was only trying to make a name for himself. He was only trying to show the brotherhood that he was down for the cause. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, he was an idiot. And yes, it is a tragic thing that that young lady had to die. But you all need to understand, he could have did a lot more damage than what he did. You see, if you look at the car, it wasn't going as fast as it could have been going. That wasn't a slow car. He could have been doing 60 miles an hour and those 19 people just wouldn't have been injured. All of them would have been dead. I mean, he really could have caused some damages. He could have waited, but he was doing a protest, so if he hadn't waited, he would have ended up killing the people that he was supposed to be trying to impress as well. Which is why they said he ran into the protesters. Ladies and gentlemen, if somebody doesn't like somebody because of their color of skin, let that be on them. Leave them alone to their hatred. This is a free country. We're allowed to do whatever. Then be free.
I've got two choices.
People are free to hate.
I either actually go
So,
through with it,
ladies and gentlemen,
or I
let
say,
them
"I'm
hate.
too scared right now.
It's okay.
I don't want to do it.
You don't have to go out there and voice your opinion because somebody else said they hated something.
Must at some point.
That's our problem. If they want to march, let them march. If the University of Virginia wants to have a statue of some General Lee because they think that he promoted slavery, well, you all need to wake up.
That is considerably more stressful.
You don't say nothing when they are trying to block these so-called people from other countries from coming in here because of their religion.
I've got death. I've got suffering.
No, you only want to speak up when it's important to you.
You know,
When you have an opinion,
this makes a whole lot of sense to me.
well, let them have their opinion. If they want to march and say that they believe that there should be slavery and that there is supremacy, let them be Nazis. It's all right. White supremacists are Nazis. So let them be Nazis. They all claim they hated Hitler, but then they're just like Hitler because Hitler believed in the so-called supremacy of a so-called race of people, the white race. So they are Nazis. So let them be Nazis.
There is no sense.
It's okay for them to be Nazis. Don't anybody argue with me because these are facts. You can't get around that. Supremacy of one race over another? Now that,
At the end
you guys are amazing.
of my
So
life,
let them do that. That's what the government has done. Look, all of this division has started here in this country.
rather surprisingly,
Britain and
I
America.
find that I feel
All the other countries, you might have a race issue, but it's not over color. It's over culture. It's over where you were born. It's over your heritage, your lineage, but not over color. you know, Miles Davis, and I'm trying to think of who's the other person, and I can't. God, I almost had his name too. I think it was Otis, but I'm not sure, and it's on my cell phone, and I'm not gonna pull it up. But the one who sang, "If you had your choice of colors, which one would you choose, my brother?" All right. Well, Gladys Knight sang that song too, and I was just listening to her the other day talk about making that song. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what that song is talking about. It just go back and listen to the song and see what it says. You see, they've caused so much division, so much hatred, so much divisiveness. But what you guys haven't paid attention to is that's how you conquer a nation. That's how you conquer a people. It's called divide and conquer. They got you guys hating each other, and you can't even see what they're doing to you. You can't see that they're poisoning you. Haven't you noticed? Look at all the people who are sick. By the way, muscular dystrophy is not a genetic issue. Muscular dystrophy is as a result of them interfering with genetics. Think about it. Go before 1903. Well, there was probably like 5 or 6 cases in the last 100 years. And that's in the 1900s. That's in the early 1900s. So in the whole entire 1800s, they might have had 6 or 7 cases in the United States of muscular dystrophy. Well, that's because they didn't have a name for it back then. They didn't have a name for it because it wasn't enough cases for them to diagnose it. But remember, they were doing genetic modification in the 1800s. Muscular dystrophy is a genetic disease. It is a gene issue. And they've been messing with genes all this time. That's why so many people are getting sick. That's why so many people are catching diabetes. Diabetes is genetic. People, pay attention. This is not natural. None of this junk is natural. Cancer is not natural. Cancer is simply a mutating of the cells. That doesn't happen in nature. Cells don't mutate. This is not science fiction. Cells only mutate when there is a cause or a reason or an interference. And what do they use to cure cancer these days? Is it not radiation, the very same thing that mutates cells? Kofi Annan got on national and international television as the Secretary General of the United Nations in the 1990s, early 1990s, and said that the world population was 5.3 billion people. And the ideal population for the world was 2.3 billion people. And they were looking to achieve the goal of reducing the world population to the ideal population. I remember telling my friends, how are they going to get rid of 3 billion people? That's easy, ladies and gentlemen. You poison a certain segment of the population. You put something out there, make all of them sick. Why do you think they're putting pollution into the water? Why do you think the Nakatomi Center is still putting out nuclear waste, radiation into the ocean? Because that's too much water. They can't poison it fast enough. So allowing that center to melt down, the Fukushima in Tokyo, allowing that nuclear plant right next to the ocean, it's not the only one, but allowing that one to, remember, the United States could have gone in and helped, and they didn't. They waited, just like they did in Katrina. Why did they wait in Katrina? Don't ask me that. But they could have gone into Tokyo and helped, but they waited. Why? Because they needed to make sure. And so for more than 2 years, that junk has been polluting the ocean, mutating the ocean. Why? Because since they're poisoning the air, since they're poisoning the food with their genetic modified organisms or GMO foods, the people are going to turn to foods born underwater and foods born underground that are less likely to be poisoned by the chemicals in the air and the spreading of the GMOs. Cross-pollination. So they need to poison the ocean, which is what they're doing with the nuclear so-called, what do you call that, waste that's going into the ocean from the Fukushima Center. But we're not even going to stop there. Did you know that the Africanized bees were not heard of in the 1930s or 40s? Hey, has anybody ever heard of a Chinese-ized, or Chinized, or Asianized bee? Or a South American bee? Or a North Americanized bee? Think about it. North Americanized bee. Oh, by the way, I found out where the name America came from, and it's not Amerigo Vespucci. It comes from the word Amaru. I knew an Amaru in Puerto Rico. Amaru. Amaru was an alright young man. Well, anyway, it comes from the word Amaru. I learned that today. I'm glad, because before I'd learned Amerigo Vespucci was the one who discovered America. You guys have heard me say Columbus didn't discover it. Amerigo Vespucci. It was already named America before Columbus came here, and Amerigo Vespucci came here in the 1500s, almost 100 years before Columbus. So he already knew where he was going. That was the argument, but now we find out that it was not the reason it's named America. No. And when you look up what Amaru stands for, its actual meaning and significance, whew. Well, if you look at the version of the X-Files and you look at all these zombie movies, all of the people, it doesn't mean that people are going to become zombies. Oh God, no. Whew. That's not what they're doing. But the fact that in all the zombie movies, the individuals are poisoned or they get sick because of a contagion, well, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to put a trigger into the atmosphere, which is going to cause all the people who are already sick. You cannot avoid it. Sorry. All of you are already sick. They've been poisoning us, poisoning us, poisoning us. In other words, they've been giving us the poison, and in order to enact the poison, make it work, they're going to put something into the atmosphere that's going to trigger it, called a triggering agent. And people are going to start dying. And they're going to pretend they don't know what the reason is. And it's going to get out of control because they think that they have it under control. They think that they have the cure. You see, because they've already done the research. So they think that they have the cure, but the only problem is they've even calculated mutation. But they haven't calculated the mutation that's going to prevent them from giving antidotes to people. That's going to put us on the brink of extinction. We're not going to get there. Some of you guys are going to think that this is just conspiracy theorists. But go back and look at the latest movies, including, what's the one that everybody talks about? Resident Evil? Then the last season of the X-Files? And then go back to all the other series, such as even, we got, what's the name of that stupid, The Arrow? The Green Arrow series on whatever station that is these days. But we have that one. What is the other one? Oh, why do you think they're building the bunkers underground? Why do you think they're building these underground cities? So that when people above ground get sick, they are protected. They are safe. They have their air purifiers. They have their seeds that they're... Why do you think they've been storing seeds, ladies and gentlemen? Why do you think that they've been stockpiling on seeds? So that when it's all said and done, and the environment calls for it, they can replant, or they can plant underground. See, because they have their wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lights that gives the same rays as the sun. The food doesn't taste as great because it's not direct sunlight, but they have lights that can imitate the sun that allows the food and the crops they have underground to grow. Why do you think you keep hearing about these underground cities? All over the world, underground cities. Because that's where they're gonna wait out what's about to happen. Why do you think they're doing it, people, if they're not planning for an event? It's not gonna be a nuclear event. They don't need a nuclear event. See, a nuclear event lasts for too long. Causes too much damage. They have to breathe that air. See, right now they are taking something that protects them from the damage of what's in the air. Not all of them. Not all of them. Nah, they're gonna let some of their own people die because they have to make it look like it's not a conspiracy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the information that you're really not supposed to be hearing. This is why I say all of the information you've been hearing from me for the last 2 weeks, people, I'm not supposed to be giving you that information. That's why every recording I've ever tried to do has never come out. Something has always gone wrong. But I decided, without giving you all the details, to give you some of the details. Go ahead, if you don't believe me, go ahead and check the figures. Go ahead and check the figures on cancer in the 1960s, 1970s, and notice how the cancer rate has spiraled out of control since the 1980s. At the exact same time they came up with genetically modified organisms, such as those genetically modified vegetation. Did you know that they promised that the genetically modified vegetation was going to cure hunger, starvation, and famine in the earth? Here it is, 30-some years later. Starvation, famine, and hunger still rage throughout the entire planet, even here in this country. So, oops, they lied. Just like they said cigarettes were good for you. They lied. Oh my God, government lying. What are we gonna do? It's not the first time they've lied to people. We're not even gonna go about talking about all their false flags. But like I said, go back. And then go back and check on the artificial insects and artificial bee. Compare the Africanized bee to all the other bees. And notice how it definitely looks like it's deformed. There's something wrong with it. Now, I knew about this stuff in 2013. Oh, and you're going to love Ebola. Because in all that's said and done, Ebola, that's their pride and joy. Because that thing spreads very quickly. It can also be made to die out. Just think to yourself, what are you going to do when people start dying around you? When in your city, how big or how small it is, enough people die to where they don't have enough people to come pick up the bodies. Just like in Katrina, bodies are laying out in the street, waiting for somebody to come pick it up. Imagine the smell. Imagine it being your loved one, but you can't bring them in a house. You can't keep them in a house because that will make you sick. And you can't touch them because that will make you sick. So you just have to leave them there. Some people are going to brave it and going to touch and grab and thinking gloves are going to protect them. It's going to be airborne, people. Airborne. Just like Ebola is airborne. So what are you going to do? Well, I can give you some hints. Stay away from the things that they're poisoning. And only associate yourself with the things that have the least likelihood of being tampered with their GMOs. Okay? I can't tell you what those things are because I'll get in trouble. And I mean real trouble. So I can't tell you what those things are, but they're simple. I just told you. You just have to figure it out. When it starts happening, hey, I'll be around. I'll be able to tell you all the details. But for right now, I'm letting you know. Some of you are going to appreciate this information. I told people years ago that they are getting ready to do some event. Well, we all know that they're getting ready to do something, especially now. So trust me on this. If you believed anything else I said, stock up on foods and the ones that contain the least amount of chemicals. Ladies and gentlemen, go look at all your foods. Just go open your cabinet. As a matter of fact, while you're going through the store and you're buying your food, just look at all the chemicals. Ask yourself a question. Why are these chemicals in my food? If I got high fructose corn syrup in my food already, why are they adding corn syrup? And if I got corn syrup in my food already, why are they adding high fructose corn syrup? What the is going on? Again, poisoning. And specifically designed poisoning. If you've ever watched any one of the spy shows, you've always seen an episode where they target a particular individual with a specific poison according to that person's genetic makeup. Well, they're doing the demographics thing, the same as they did with the cigarettes. Why do you think the cigarettes contain so many chemicals? Because they are trying to kill off 80% of the world's population. Yeah, they claim it's going to help them better manage things. That's the New World Order, and nobody's been paying attention. Oh, I'm sorry. Why do you think they have all the coffins? Everybody knows that there's an event that's going to happen that's going to cause them to be able to use most of the coffins, well, all of the coffins, sorry, because they don't have enough coffins, ladies and gentlemen, for the amount of people that are going to die. And they know this. How are they going to destroy the bodies? They don't care about that, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to leave all the workers to take care of the bodies. All the people that's low on the totem pole. And the military. This is what they're going to do. Now, when it happens, oh, that was right. Just go ahead and say it. The only problem is it will be too late for most of you because you wouldn't have taken heed. Stock up on your food and be prepared. Well, but how do we protect ourselves? It's in the air, and it's in the food, and it's in the water. Ladies and gentlemen, the way you protect yourself is you stay away from all the chemicals. You start doing that now. Change your diet. Drinking all those sodas and those soft drinks, Coca-Cola, man, please pour that on a very hot day. Those of you who are in Arizona, because we've done it, pour it on cement and see if Coca-Cola does not eat through the cement. If it does not damage the cement, people, if it can damage cement, it's damaging you. So leave Coca-Cola alone. I don't care if Coca-Cola don't appreciate me doing this video talking about them. Leave all of those stupid soft drinks alone. Stay away from that junk. That junk is no good for you. I have not seen a video yet about Doritos. Man, I love me some Doritos. But when people told me about Doritos, you light a match to it and Doritos will sit up there and start a barbecue. You can start a forest fire with a bag of Doritos. Ladies and gentlemen, stay away from that junk. There is no reason for them to add all those chemicals. They don't need all those chemicals to make the food taste great. And then we're not even going to talk about the animals. See, the bees are poisonous, so the bees sting the animal, the man eats animal, man gets poisoned. The bee stings man, man gets poisoned. The bees pollinate the plant now becomes dangerous to man because it's genetically modified already, and now it has the poison from the bee, and now man eats the plant, and animals eat the plant, and man eats the animal. Triple poisoning, quadruple poisoning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is their scheme. You already know that before they do something, they think of all of the consequences, all the variables. Well, tell me if those are not variables for which they would not compensate for. So, I was planning on doing this video, but I was only planning on doing this video sometime later. I was only doing this video originally to thank all of you. Let's see if we can get this page to refresh itself before we start over. Again, this video is primarily being done because the gentleman asked me about the X-Files video. Where could he locate that particular episode? And as I said, it's last season. And you can still use the Pirate Bay to download the X-Files videos. But the Pirate Bay is going to be gone in a minute, and most of the other European P2P sites are going to be gone. Why? Because the corporations need to make more money off of people. So this is what I'm going to say to all of you. And this is my hope, is that you all get it. That you all pay attention. That's not going to happen because there's too many of you. Of subscribers, it's 3,900. And we multiply that by 6. We say 6 because that's probably going to be the average individuals who eventually view this video. 3,900 will be the initial, but eventually it will get around, because what's happening with the views, you're not seeing the people who have copied the video and placed it on their sites. You see, YouTube does not keep tally of that. I do. And a lot of my videos end up being on other people's sites. When you do a Google search, I tell people all you got to do is search Our Style Money Order if you want to see how far my videos are. Okay? So that being the case, we know some of you are going to listen, which means some of you will survive. Ladies and gentlemen, when things get that bad, you're not going to want your house. There's no way in the world you're going to be able to keep that house, because the house will be infested. And you will have to destroy the house. Even though this disease is something that they're going to eventually get under control. And I say eventually, it will be a while. You're not going to want to be in that house because they're not going to get it under control immediately. And this will be an airborne disease. So all I can do is tell you all, we're in for a bumpy ride. I hope you guys have brought your protection. At least that is my hope. We had 3,900. I know we should be over 4,000 now, but I'm guessing. I could be wrong. So let's go up and check. Do you mind? Nope, still 3,900. I was wrong. Oh, that's subscriptions. Oh no, views. My bad. No, subscriptions don't jump like that. Oh God, no, I don't get 100 subscriptions a day. That was a week ago, where we were averaging 200-300 subscriptions. I was averaging 100 subscriptions an hour. So last week was phenomenal, and I couldn't handle it. It was too much, stressing me out. But this is 8:12 in the evening. I've been up since 7:30, went to sleep at 3:30, so only had a couple hours of sleep. Been up most of the day. I'm about to go to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thanking you for allowing me to take the time, and sometimes I will do a video for one person. That one person, well, actually, I've had several people ask me about the X-Files video. One person said they were even going to go and watch X-Files. Look, you may not even be into the X-Files. Like I said, you're going to have to ignore the fact that they add aliens to the dialogue, but focus on the fact that they have a disease out there, and the disease is caused not by some rogue country or some idealistic group in a different country, but it's caused by the government. And notice how it is caused. Like I said, I was shocked. I promise you, when I saw the X-Files was talking exactly about the stuff that I've been telling other people, and I was keeping it close-lipped because I'm knowing I can't talk about this stuff out loud because this is going to cause problems. Well, the X-Files talked about it, so once they talked about it, I was allowed to talk about it. But then we saw a couple of more movies talking about the same thing. I mean, that's all they've been talking about, is the disease getting out there and killing millions of people. The Spanish influenza ain't even gonna come close to this, people. I mean, this is gonna be the greatest crisis the world has ever faced, because it's gonna get out of control, and they're not gonna be able to handle it, and they think that they can handle it. That's man for you. He thinks he can handle anything. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what I can't handle is taking up any more of your time. So have a good day, have a good night, have a good life.